Hi everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching with today's video, which is 256. And it doesn't look like the one with the tape in it, does it? No, I've been working on that one and I'm not quite ready. And I said, well, I'll just have another week to work on it. But I thought I have 5 more hand stitched quilts back in there, and then I'd like to share them with you. Couple of them are from 2018 and one's 2017, and one's from way back when I must have been starting to stitch, and I'm going to show you that one. This is one of my favorite quilts. And you'll notice that when I started, I liked darker colors. I liked the rich, not necessarily dark, but the richer colors. And so this one's a nice size quilt. You can see it goes over the back of the rack and goes down to the bottom. It's got a nice border on it. Whenever you're worried that your quilt's not going to be big enough for a bed, I've learned a border does wonders for getting you to the size you want. Move up a little closer. And if you look at this, you'll see some of the quilting that I did in it. And that even in the strips where you can't see the stitching very much, they're stitched in there. The border's stitched, and the big border is stitched too. And this was just fun because I could collect different fabrics and look in what I had and use them to make these little peaks. Like these are mountain peaks to me. The back of this quilt is away from the muslin. It's a deep gold color with a little cloudy today, and I'm having trouble getting a really good color, but that's what that is. That is a gold color. So that's away from my normal muslin. And what's so funny is I looked back to the other video, which was a little bit over a month ago, and I was surprised how excited I was about the quilts because I don't usually get them out. I have them stored or stashed or laying on a bed flat. Then this is the one that's an older quilt, and of course it doesn't have a number on it, so I don't know when it was, but there's several funny things about it. I was already into deep quilting, doing a lot of quilting. You can see in my little edges right there in the sashing that it's really over quilted. And then in my flowers, those are all small triangles that were stitched together. It was all hand stitched. And then over in the small border, I've got some more stitching. And the funny thing is, when I turn it over, sorry about that, you can see that beginner quilter. And you can see that when I was quilting in the brown, I thought I should use brown thread. And you can see where I've got knots. And you can see that it doesn't look like uniform stitches everywhere. It's really funny. And then when I did the gold, I decided I needed to do gold thread. And I wanted to show you that there isn't any binding on this quilt. If you see this side and you look at this side, there's no binding. And so it must have been that I read that back in someday that they would just take and turn the fabric in around the edges and then run a row of stitches or two around there, and that would close off the quilt. And this is number 3. And you can see I didn't have any problem with making them big. It's so funny now because now I sort of like to make them a little bit littler, but there's a limit to how many you can put on your bed, and there's a limit to how many that you can you want to give away after you do that much work on them. It's got to be somebody really special. And this has just got the triangles, and it went around the triangles. And I'm really pleased with the stitching on there, and then on the sawtooth edge over there. But then I got to have fun with with the squares that were light colored. And when I was hand stitching, what I liked was I just start somewhere with my pattern and then keep going. And like this one, I can see that I started with one circle. I made a bigger circle. I took some cardboard and cut out these leaf-looking things. And then I went inside and did a row inside and another row inside. And then when I got ready to do this part, I used the edge of that leaf and went ahead and finished those up. And you know, that's the thing there. One of the biggest changes I had for the quilting on the machine was if I was going to do my free motion quilting, I had to know ahead of time what I was going to do. And that really helped me. And that didn't mean that I didn't change what I was doing sometime, but you had to have a little plan for ahead. And then it's got the different borders, and they're all stitched. The backing material on this one is another gold. It's kind of like a busy gold more than this tan. It's got a gold to it. Can't quite get it there. But that was a nice big one too, the quilt. This is the second time I've made the video, worked on the video, and my arms are getting tired. It's amazing trying to throw those things up over the stand. But here's one that I really like, and you can see this was a real different one for me because it's only got the olive color, and that's the primary, and then the black centers, but they've got olive in it. And it was just that I had material that went together. I like to put together what I have. I'm going to tell you, I need that to help me figure out what I want to put together. And this one, it's just got straight row stitching through the boxes, through the rectangles, and then a flower has been done in each one of the black squares that are there. And it's got two borders, a dark one, a light one, and I tell you, my binding has come a long way. Then this one on the back, from a distance it looks like a grunge, and it's really olive, not brown. But when you get up close to it, you can see that there's little clouds of leaves in that material, and so that's fun. And this is probably one of the latest ones, the last ones that I did, because in 2016 I needed a new sewing machine, so then I got a machine that would also let me do some quilting, and I like to do free motion quilting now. I didn't know it then when I got that machine, but I finally learned it. And I've enjoyed doing that so much because I had such a big learning curve. And then working on these videos, it's really been fun. And so anyway, this was one of my favorites also. And I actually had it hanging in the den. It was folded down and then hung over a rack. But you can see it's so nice and different because there's a diagonal patch through in the middle. And then you've got the sawtooth against that, but going diagonally, and a plain piece of material, and then another sawtooth turned the other way, and then repeated blocks. And this was really a pretty pattern. This is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. I hoped you enjoyed this little second part of this journey, of my journey through time with the hand stitching.